Getting themselves set up and ready to join us. Today we are talking about why the agent will not sign you. And it's a controversial topic, or I guess just like a heated topic, because people are going like, well, what are you talking about that? So the truth is you can get an agent. So, it really depends. I mean, if you understand what the agent's job is, that's the first place to start. So let's talk about that for a second. The agent is somebody who works for you as an actor, or a model. They are a commission-based employee of your acting enterprise. Let's just call it that. And so once you understand that they work for you, honestly, the game changes a little bit as far as sort of how you expect to be treated and how you expect to handle yourself around them. So understand first of all that you're gonna need to audition for an agent. You'll have to earn that spot. But then after you get the agent, the reverse is true, where the agent is working for you. They're helping you get jobs, ideally, and then they get a commission off of what you make. So why is it that some people don't get agents? And this is a good question. I can tell you that here at the studio, we do recommend our actors, when they're ready, to be submitted for agencies. And we've bragged about this for quite a while. We shouldn't be so braggadocious, I guess, but we've got 100% sign rate when we send somebody to go to an agent. And so why is that? How have we been able to accomplish 100% sign rate? Well, what we do is we help actors get beyond where an agent would normally sign them, and as far as their skill level and their mindset, so that the agent, it's like a no-brainer that the agent would sign you because you're so good. We like to say, be so good that the industry cannot ignore you. And that's a very powerful statement. So what does that look like? I mean, I've had actors come in here and you wouldn't believe it. Like I had somebody come in here in their 60s, and they did not look the part of a commercial actress. Just had been kind of a homebody for a while and not really getting out there, just not necessarily 100% well put together, didn't have confidence, and they're already in their 60s, had never acted before in their life. And I look at this person, and on paper, they ask me, could I get an agent? Is this something that's realistic for me? And because of my belief system, I said yes. Now, truth be told, I had no idea how we were going to get there, but I do have a belief system that when you get good enough, all of a sudden you can no longer be ignored. So that was the mindset that we took, and we went to work. And this particular actor grinded it out with us here at the studio. And I'm talking like 3 private lessons a week, taking all the classes, like fully involved in everything we were doing. And before you know it, what's crazy is their confidence was changed. They were changed from the inside out. And I say that because on the outside they changed too. But from the inside out, they had this new sense of self-worth and confidence when in front of the camera. And so, this actor asked me about, potentially changing their look. And I said, yeah, you should go for that. Do something new and unique. And before you know it, this same person who is now like unrecognizable from when they came in here, you look at like a before and after photo and you're like, whoa. And this actor went on to land all kinds of jobs. They did get an agent. They're working commercially, working in various aspects of our industry before moving off to another market. And then eventually, I'm not sure if they're still acting or not, but I would consider it to be a massive success story. and somebody that I can now talk about and use and celebrate them as a major accomplishment for what they were able to do and what we were able to help them do just by applying the principles of what we teach in the acting studio to better their hearts and honestly just live into this new confidence. And so it's very exciting. And so why are you not getting signed by an agent? I don't know. I mean, you might be. You might have gotten signed with no work. And honestly, if that's the case, in a lot of ways, I feel bad for you. I feel a little bit worried about the person who gets signed without the effort, because the truth is, the agent, their job is to make money, and they're gonna make money ideally, and so you want them to make money. That's great. So what happens is a lot of times people have earned a certain level of respect, maybe physically. So let's say we get a lot of collegiate athletes that come through the studio training here. And if you were a collegiate athlete, you know how to grind and you know how to work on your body. And you've probably got a physique and a look that I would say the term I use is you look good in a t-shirt. And this is whether you're a guy or girl, doesn't matter. You know the frame I'm talking about. You look good in a t-shirt. Well, that's going to land you a certain number of jobs commercially because you're going to be a commercial print actor. And an agent's going to look at you and go, boom, I can make money on you. So they're going to sign you. And then you're going to go, oh, great, I've made it. I know, what it takes. But then the truth is, you're then going to be limited by just that look. And when other actors come along and they grind on their physique and they catch up to you in that area, but they've been working on their talent, then all of a sudden those jobs that were going your way are no longer going to go your way. So you have to understand that to land the agent without any work is not necessarily a good thing. I mean, it's great, it's fine, but make sure that you are doubling down on your work ethic so that you can then not only land jobs for your look, but land jobs for your talent, more importantly. So what if you didn't have the look? What if you started off and you weren't one of those people who had been, working consistently? And we've seen this at every age, by the way. I have examples of, for instance, like young girls who have been dancing their whole life. And so they've got a dancer's body. They have a dancer's mentality. They are able to perform in front of a big crowd because they're used to doing that through dance. So they walk in with a particular set of skills and confidence that is transferable to what we do as actors. And so they get to start ahead maybe of, say, another person who is starting off who didn't have dance training. But if that person just rests on their dance training alone, then they're only going to get so far with that charisma and that their initial confidence and acting ability. If they don't double down on that thing, eventually the other people who are working on their talent are going to catch up to them. So if you're one of those people who is struggling to grab an agent, just understand probably you didn't walk in with a transferable skill or a transferable look or something that was like automatic that like, oh yeah, I'm going to sign that person. Like they just like their eyes pop off the page. It's guaranteed I'm going to be able to make money on them. Okay, no problem. So why are you not getting signed? Well, it's because you haven't demanded it. And you have to demand the attention of the market because you are worth what the market will pay for you. And so how do you demand the market's attention? How do you demand that you're going to get signed? You get really, really good at your craft. And that comes back to training. And I mean, like, training goes across the board, by the way. So I firmly believe that to be an actor, and this is all over the book, acting is my day job. What's up, Brad Guy? Oh, hold on. I gotta turn up your mic. Yo, what up, Brad Guy?
What's up?
Yeah, homie. So this is all over the the Acting is My Day Job book, which
You mean this book right here?
Yeah,
this
that's the
is
book.
Always around me.
Yeah, and right now with the way the cameras are, you're over there for the audience, but yeah. So Acting is My Day Job is this this book that I wrote in order to help actors organize their lives and become successful commercially, because this is a business. I want you to understand that this is a business. And you know, as a matter of fact, Bri Guy, we had a little debate on this.
We did,
just the other day, and it was interesting because I agreed with you. You had mentioned that this industry is one of the hardest industries there is, and I'm like, yes, it is. But I sort of further kind of manipulated that idea by telling you my point of view was, I think it's one of the hardest industries because of people's perception of the industry. And you agree with that?
I totally agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, every industry is hard. When you go into sales, I mean, it's like there's no doubt that to be a salesperson is super hard. I mean, I'm going to say, who has it harder? An actor that's got to go out and audition all the time, or a vacuum salesman that goes door to door? A vacuum salesman, 100%.
Yeah.
You know, how about one of those missionaries that's walking door to door with Bibles? That's a tough job.
Yeah.
You know, in their long pants and shirts and bikes, and they're in the 115-degree heat. They got it worse. You know, so our industry, yes, it's tough, but it's more the perception of that it's easy.
Yeah.
That what really makes it tough.
Yeah, and you brought up a great point that I loved about rejection, you know, because I was clinging to this idea that, like, you know, in our industry, we have to face rejection. Well, the truth is, I mean, you look at salesmen, you look at all these other things, there are so many industries where that's the case.
Yeah.
So, and like even regular, like you go into a company and you start from the way bottom, you know, and someone gets promoted ahead of you. Like rejection. Like, it's all over the place. The self-image issues that actors struggle with. Everybody struggles with those things.
Everywhere, yeah.
And so when you and I went back and forth on this, it really opened up my mind to that, to the realization, and honestly got me super psyched because of our philosophy. Because we believe that why we teach is to help, because acting helps everybody. Because it's not just for the actor. It's about helping you deal with a lot of those things that life throws your way, and becoming a stronger human being in the process.
100%.
And so, like, yeah, that connection there, I was like, oh, but I'll be very honest right away. First, I was like, dang it, you know, like, because there was this thought that I just said it like tonight.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And one of the things he said, I'm going to do it on Monday. So those who listen, head start. But like literally, I'm going to go in and have them open up the page, because I had them write it down. I had them write it down word for word, nice and slow, like feeling like a bad A, you know, like, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Like, and so now it's going to go back and cross that out. And here's why. Matt and I sat and talked about it, which is just so cool, because last night I talked to the students, because it was 2 nights ago, excuse me. Last night I talked to the students and talked about how we did that, how we together, Matt and I sat down and debated together. And we went through, and they were just so blown away and excited by that idea that we keep growing. And we are mastering continuously, and couldn't believe we got done with class at 10, and then at like 10:45 we're debating for a half hour about class and how we can grow. And I was able to then, thanks to you, look at the students, and this is the teenagers in this class, and go like, when I stop doing that, please stop listening to me.
Yeah.
That was literally what I said. And they were like, huh? And I was like, please, like, just stop listening to me, because I don't want you to. If I'm not growing, what right do I have to talk to you about growing?
And here's this idea too. Hey Joey, what's going down, man?
What's going down?
Hey, so I'd love to have just a better broadcast in general. So I'm gonna hand you the iPad.
Sounds great.
So hand it to me. I'll bring it around my mic and hand it to Joe. That's what's happening right now.
So there's this idea of being curious too. Stay curious, maintain curiosity, and I know that like when we began talking the other night, Brian, what I said was, hey, I'd love to debate you on this. Like I'd like to say I have a different point of view slightly, and I want to make sure that we're in alignment with what that point of view is, and if I need to be changed, like, let's talk about it. And then, you know, and then to your credit, you did the same thing, and we kind of just, we married something and go, yeah, okay, I totally see where you're coming from, but we want to be careful not to inject undue fear into our students or into actors in general who want to be actors, because you can be an actor, you can do this 100%. You don't have to be afraid of it. You just have to be afraid of it if you're not willing to do the work.
Yeah, totally, 100%.
And so, as a matter of fact, that's the beginning of the book there, and we love to share this with the kids. We talk about the industry dragon. So, because it is that mystical thing. It's like, who gets to be an actor? People feel like nobody gets to be an actor. Well, people get to be actors, and you can be one of them.
Yeah.
You just have to understand and be realistic about the process of what it takes to become an actor. And there are so many different levels, and it's okay if you're not one of the people who are willing to become rich and famous as an actor, because truthfully, I know some of them. It's not necessarily always all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah.
To land that status, but the amount of sacrifice is tremendous.
Yeah.
And so think about, again, any other profession. Name a profession.
Mail carrier.
Okay, good. Thank you. Mail carrier. No, that's great. So let's take mail carrier. Who does the mail carrier work for?
UPS.
Okay, well, UPS or the government. So either way. So let's go UPS. So the mail carrier works for UPS. There's a way to work your way up UPS. And to move from mail carrier to the mail carrier manager, to the mail carrier, you know, whatever the big district manager, right? All the way up to VP, potentially president of the company.
Yep.
But you have to be willing to grind.
Yeah.
And go to school extra, and go to business school additional to your hours, and you have to be willing to go to meetings when you're not getting paid, and you have to be willing to like offer and sacrifice time and energy to get to that place. Not everybody's willing to do it.
Yeah, you know, there's a great throwback episode on that. Going back to check out George Bennett's episode. George Bennett was that way. You know, he started just selling door to door.
Printers.
Literally printers, door to door. Like, talk about a challenging job.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, go back to the vacuum salesman. This is a printer salesman walking, knock, knock. You know,
right?
Hey, I got a printer here. I'd love to just drop off at your place. Yeah, that's tough.
That's really tough. And he did. He rose up. And so we talk about that in that episode. So I won't go too deep into that. But like, go back, check it out, everybody, because it's so cool, that idea. And he did. He rose up all the way to the top of this company. And to the point where, like, we were working with them for a second, and like people came in, they're like, "Oh, the big guy,"
right?
Like the big guy. You know him, George.
Oh, Mr. Bennett.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It was
Let me
great.
hustle up.
So then we take this idea, right, and we're going, okay. So if I don't have what it takes to get to George Bennett status at Xerox, does that mean that I couldn't be in the printer industry? No, of course I could be. I'll just end up somewhere else in that industry, and I'll find my niche, and I'll grow and develop as far as I want to, and that's fine. You know, mail carrier industry. There's a great story in Tony Robbins' book when he talks about finances of a UPS driver who set up his family for unlimited wealth because of the way he saved and the way he worked, and he never had another job other than the mail carrier for the UPS, and he passed on a legacy of multi-millions of dollars to his family that was set for them, because he understood the value of compound interest and of being diligent and being consistent. And so that his story was about financial consistency. But there you go. Like, is there any shame in that guy and his story? Of course not. Like,
no.
that's massively huge. And then does that mean that somebody who rose up from the UPS mail carrier up to VP, are they better? No, they're just different.
Yeah, and you know what? That just inspired me. Like my dad, for example, and when I was a kid, I just didn't get it. Like he's like a legend in Wickenburg.
Bro, I still don't understand your dad.
I will never understand him. I'll never understand him. However, so we were like growing up, and I found out that he very easily had an opportunity to rise up again. So he's the manager of the entire store.
Dude,
so
I happen to know, because your dad is a baller, that he's been offered to be lifted up probably a dozen times.
And it does not surprise me. Like
Yeah.
with the way he works and the things he does. Like he even told me the other day, he's like, oh, I'm going in on this day because of this reason. Somebody else was like had a certain paycheck that they were like given in a gift card, and they were like complaining about it or something. And he just goes, okay, I'll take the gift card, and he gives them $100 because they were like, I'll prefer the cash. Like that's the kind of thing he does, right? So when I was younger, I just didn't understand it. But he's very happy in that town. Like he was very happy then, just doing his thing in that town and being the servant of that town. And everybody knew my dad. Like everybody knew my dad.
They still do.
And they still do.
Yeah.
Right. So so he would do this, and he had the opportunity to rise up right above that and be one of the guys who like oversaw like 10 stores and met with those guys. And he didn't want to. Like he just didn't want to. And so he stayed right where he was
because there's a certain amount of stress and a certain amount of sacrifice and a certain amount of things that go with that choice.
Yes.
You know, and so like Joey, you can attest to this. You have a camera for yourself?
Yeah.
Good. So I know you and your dad have a very special relationship. Joey, by the way, I'm going to just pause before we get back to your dad. Dude, was that your idea, Brian? You put the thing up about Joey, like say something.
Yeah.
Dude, that was so cool. But the response, Joey, was like, were you just like blown away?
I was blown away. It was crazy.
And it's probably just that, you know, even still just the beginning, but like, holy moly. Like I actually, you know, because I don't really go on social media that much. So this morning I just opened to see like, hey, what, like I haven't looked in 3 or 4 days. Like I hope we're trending in the right direction. And I open it up and I'm like, what is this? Like this one post is like blowing up. And I went onto my personal and I'm like, there's like 150 people have like tagged you in something. I'm like, all right, what the heck's going on? And it was like, hey, what do you like about Joey? And dude, just like your dad, man, people love you, dude. And you are such a grinder, and you're a kid who has been, you've listened and you've risen up in this humble company that we are building here. And just with absolute faith, you've stepped up your game. And what's great about you, Joey, is the things that you do and the things that you're choosing to get great at don't involve you in the limelight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's not about I'm doing this to make me better. It's usually I'm doing this to make you better. Mm-hmm. And I'm doing this, you know, like, why did you produce the masterclass at such a high level? Well, because you wanted the actors to look good. You wanted them to feel famous. You wanted them to feel successful. And what's crazy is you don't always get the accolades, and people don't always talk to you because, let's say, the camera's on me or the microphone's on me during class, and so I get the interaction back and forth. So maybe you don't always get it. And it was so nice and refreshing to see that people really, really deeply appreciate what you do.
Yeah.
And they see it, you know. So you've got your head down sometimes, and you're in a cave, so to speak, just lifting others up. But that's the thing I always say: you lift other people up, man, you are gonna get lifted up. And I'll tell you what, that was a huge response. Like, that was so neat for me to see.
100%. And it was one of those things where Brian was like, "Look at Instagram."
Yeah.
After the show yesterday, and I saw it, and I was like, oh. Darn. Because you talk about like not being in the limelight, and truthfully, like, I didn't really want to be. So then,
and that's what puts you in the limelight. That's how it always works.
Yeah, but it was interesting because I was just like, oh, I don't, like, can we take that down? You know, before there were any traction on it, because I was like, I don't want a ton of people.
I was worried because I know that you don't pull well.
Oh man, and that guy's the guy who put it up. Well, hold on, that guy's the guy who put it up. Shane.
Oh, dang it, wrong button.
Next time you're listening to.
Throw back to
God bless you, and really God bless everyone.
Throw back to the episode when Brian says Joey doesn't pull well.
Throw back to that
with
one.
Astrid.
and check it out.
So Brian says Joey doesn't pull well, and so he wouldn't put him on his TikTok. It was the most
so
ridiculous
stupid.
thing
Come on.
we've ever heard. Okay, so Joey, going back to you and your special relationship with your dad, and people,
Yeah.
we can all learn from this, all of us, Brian included, me included, and all of our listeners. You find a way and a reason to talk to your dad every single day. Am I
Yep.
right?
100%.
At least once a day.
Yeah.
And I believe you do with your mom as well. But and what's interesting is everybody has a different relationship. So I don't want to compare mom and dad. I don't think that's fair
No.
because we have different love languages, right?
Yeah.
So I'm only going to talk about your dad for right now because everyone knows I love Vicky Sweeney. She's probably watching. I do love you so much, and Joey loves you 100%.
Yeah.
But you find a way to talk to your dad every day, and he finds a way to talk to you. So between the two of you, a phone call is made. Mm-hmm. And I've heard you do it. Half the time, it's just, what's that? What's that? You good? Yeah, I'm good. Cool, man. That's it. And so it's like this check-in of love and admiration. And at first, a habit like that is not easy.
Yeah.
To go, okay, how do I remember to call my dad every day? How do I remember to call my son every day and check in? Because life gets a hold of us, Your dad's a very busy dude. You're very busy, obviously, here. So there's every excuse not to. But then once you go through and push into the place where it has become a habit, so you call your dad just same way you brush your teeth, I bet you anything that habit has really done wonders for your soul. Am I right?
Yeah, 100%. And you're so right, because my dad is definitely one of the people who I've always looked up to and had a close relationship with. And it's evolved over time, but we've just had a lot of really good memories, really good moments. He's taken us on a lot of trips. We watched football every Sunday together, and that's where I kind of grew my passion for that. So he's definitely an inspiration. And it's funny going back to talking about the way he manages the store in Wickenburg. When I was younger, I used to tell my friends he owned the store in Wickenburg. And I honestly thought that. I didn't know any better.
Sure.
I never saw anybody higher up, and I knew he was a grinder and he was crazy good at his job. And I told all my friends, I was like, my dad owns Dispatches.
And little did you know he owns the town, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but so that's so great. And then this ties back to this idea on Instagram of part of the reason why you got such a huge response is because that's the kind of guy you are. Mm-hmm. You're the kind of guy to think of those little things, and you've made a huge impact in a lot of lives, and I know you're going to keep doing that. So it was really fun for me to see that response for you.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really cool. And I'll say publicly thank you to Brian and all the people who took time out of their day to do that, because it was really cool for me.
Yeah, and again, back to Brian, you put it up about your brother and put it up secretly in such a way that was going to lift somebody else up, and again, that type of giving spirit is what this world needs, right now. And so, I just found that to be fascinating. So if how do we tie this idea? Okay, I love doing this. This is an improv thing. How do we go A to C here? So we've gone A to C over to Joey being awesome. Mm-hmm. How do we tie this back to this idea of how do you get an agent?
I think it just goes simply down to grinding, putting your head down, and being the person who like you said, deserves it. Honestly,
it's not about you, right?
I was about to say selflessness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You're doing.
It's the same.
I just taught this in commercial last night. The concept, when you understand the concept behind a commercial and the actor's role in that, you start to realize, I have a pretty big job here. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to help them make money. I'm trying to help them sustain their business, and they're investing in me. Mm-hmm. So I have a responsibility to know the company, understand what their mission, vision, values are, and try to lift them up. And if I don't believe in their mission, vision, values, I shouldn't even be auditioning. But if I can find a connection of how I love the company, love what they're doing, and want to help them surge forward, then probably I'm gonna get an opportunity to do that. Yeah. And then if you get that chance and you're focused on them, focused on helping them, and then they make money, you get rewarded. And that's the greatest thing about being an actor is the rewards keep coming if you do your job right. So, we talk about residuals. I mean, residuals are the best thing ever. You have a commercial run for 13 weeks or something like that, and then you get another check because they want to run it again. Well, why would they want to run it again? Because they're making money. Your commercial made them money. So however much it costs them, they're making more money than it's costing them. So then they look at their return on investment and they go, this is a good return on investment. I need to run this again. Well, if they're making money off your face, then your face should get paid again. And so it's a fair trade. It really is. And so, and this is one of the things I try to explain to young producers and directors too, because I get this question a lot, like, hey, so I want to hire you. And I'm like, great. And they'll say, how much do you work? How much do you get paid per hour? I'm like, I don't get paid per hour, bro. And what do you mean? Well, I get paid per value.
Yep.
Not per hour. Yeah, I could work for you for 5 minutes, but if I make you $1 million, don't I deserve 100,000? Of course I do.
Absolutely.
So you wrap that into your mindset and you go, okay, if I have this mental attitude of I'm helping the client make money, and you go in with that perspective, guess what you're not thinking about? Yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you cease to be nervous. Because you're sincerely trying to help the company. And when you get to that place mentally, like Joey has been with all of his work and his different connections with his dad and all these different great things of who Joey is, when you get to that place in your commercial work, you're going to land more jobs, and you're not going to be nervous in the audition room because it's not about you or how you look. It's about how are you presenting the company.
Absolutely. And I'll just shout out to another past one. I should even show it right here for the Instagram people. Time is money. Why actors get paid so much. It's an actor tip video you did. Oh,
yeah.
That's my face, not that. So
it's a beautiful face.
Thank you so much. So yeah, you literally break that down in that one. And there are a couple other, for actors, like several other tips on there that go through a bunch of this stuff, just like the past episodes of Mornings with Matt, where you talk about these specifics. But yeah, it's definitely that case. And you talk about Van Gogh. You talk about painting, and he's like, no, I worked hours and hours and hours and hours to be able to do this painting in 10 seconds or something like that was your example. And
yeah. So, and this is like one of those well-known stories that it may not even be true. It's like a fable, but the idea is the patron comes along and he hires the master painter to paint them something. And it takes the master painter 20 minutes. And the master painter says, okay, thank you very much. That'll be $100,000. And the person says, $100,000? That took you 20 minutes. And they go, no, that took me 2 decades.
Yeah. Absolutely.
To be able to do it in 20 minutes. And if you have a Vincent Van Gogh painting for $100,000, but by the way, you made out.
Yeah, big time you made out.
That was a good investment.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, we should probably end here, but again, how do you get an agent? You get an agent by working hard. You get an agent by having the right attitude, by having the right mindset, and sometimes by having the right look. But the right look could actually go against you because it might stop you from doing the work that needs to be done to continually work once you have an agent. But how do you get an agent? You work, you work, you work, you work, you work. You get so good that they cannot deny you a spot. Then you're going to get an agent. And at that point, it's 100% a guarantee that you'll get signed if you're just freaking good.
Absolutely.
Big facts.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is our show. This has been Mornings with Matt. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining on the show this morning. And we would like to please have me stumble on my outro. We think that would be a great idea.
It was really funny and great. Really entertaining.
Thank you. Now, if you would, please like, subscribe, and share this channel. Help us put this light-driven content out to the planet. And Joey, let's go ahead and cut to Brian dancing.
Alrighty, cutting to Brian dancing.
Thanks for listening to Mornings with Matt. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, private lessons,
am I still dancing?
Development coaching, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Have a Deering day, everyone.
Have a Deering day!